Can you copy paste them in there? Or,
Um,
or you just
well, I
kind of
know
have the
exactly where it's at.
No worries.
So basically, it's like, so after the Widowmine drop, when I add the tech lab to the factory, I've played around with the idea of making a cyclone out of that right away, instead of like switching it right away with a Rex.
Okay, cool. Is that like mostly for fighting against Stargate play or?
It's mostly actually for like the counter stalker pressure that like, especially if I lose the drop, will really kill me. Um, Even if I put a bunker down, sometimes I feel like it's not really enough. I mean, I guess I could make like a tank or two as well. Um, but really, yeah, it's like if I lose my drop, like right after that, even if I have
Yeah.
the bunker there, like sometimes the stalkers will just kill it before
Yeah,
I can get
you're
repair.
low on units at that point. Like it is very hard for them to commit. Like because if you don't lose your drop, for instance, and it's still threatening, it's like pretty crazy for them to go across. Because you're still following up with the lib, right?
No, I make the Raven follow up, which I think is
Okay,
also
so
part of my like
it's medevac
maybe
straight
that
into Raven.
issue.
Okay, so you don't have the Liberator either. Yeah, yeah. So that's like even more like they don't get completely punished. Whereas normally it's like even if the Blinkstalk is doing pretty big damage, you got to live on one mineral line and your drop can re-drop in or whatever. But yeah, I always build a siege tank with this. And this was
Okay.
always something we mentioned way back when we were talking with this build because you really like the Raven.
Hmm.
And we'd kind of I remember this quite clearly actually. I remember us talking about this and me being like, you know what? You could get punished really hard by really good stalker counterattacks
Hmm.
if they happen to do well. And we just said, look, the bunker's normally going to keep you okay. Like, let's just see if we can get away with it, and just rather than have the tanks, just get faster into the Marauder production and the stim and the shields and that, right? Because the Raven already costs so much gas, we didn't want to slow down your upgrades too
Yeah.
much. So that was the
Yeah.
decision we made at the time. I think definitely a siege tank is better than a cyclone because the cyclone costs almost as much gas. Like what is it, 25 more gas, same mineral cost for a siege
Yeah.
tank to a cyclone. And whilst the cyclone can be really good, it's also very fucking fragile, right? I normally feel like you can get a tank where I mean they can't actually break your bunker usually, right? Like it's a little bit map dependent, but usually it's more than blinking in the main that gets you, right?
I actually do typically lose
I
the
want you
bunker
falling my
sometimes.
bed like rain.
Just because like maybe I don't
Well, I
repair it
commenced
fast
the wet
enough.
season at my
Yeah,
farm.
Like
definitely
it's just
being you
very
got to you
fragile,
yeah,
right?
you've got to be real ready for that repair. And normally, like, I actually have the tank more sieged in the main, right? Protecting your production. But it should be at least like half covering the natural. Like, it's kind of in between, right? Depending on the map, sometimes it's like just on top of the ramp kind of thing, or it's just on the bottom of the ramp. Depending on,
Okay.
where the blink in point is, right? Like Kairos Junction's a good example, where you could have it sieged kind of on the low ground and it'll cover everywhere they can blink into the main. I believe on actually maybe Kairos is a bad example. Some of the maps you can, some you can't. But anyway, I think a tank is a good idea there. If you're like, look, that's getting you, lots of people go and blink. Let's always add a tank in, and all this does is delays your stim and shields just slightly, gives you a bit of safety. That's fine.
All right.
All
Yeah, that's
right,
perfect. That's all I needed. That's why I was like,
all
I'm
right.
just gonna hit pig and kind of refine, like, because I was thinking cyclone, right? And obviously the tank does make more sense now. You really like kind of like talk through it. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'll just
and
default to that.
yeah. So we're gonna try to cover, main blink in area and also natural. So bunker placement, you don't want it to be too crazy out far front, like, but there are scenarios where you'll want that.
Yeah,
And you just got to be real quick
real quick.
on
Yeah, yeah.
on repair, especially, right? Even with the tank, like, you lose the bunker, you've got nothing else there for you. So, yeah, real quick on repair. And as always, like you die to those blink pressures, you should always be checking your macro, right? It's very easy to forget to queue up your first few marauders on time because you're busy harassing with
Hmm.
your drop. And two marauders coming out 20 seconds earlier, you know, just can often be the difference, right? Six stalkers blink in on your siege tank and kill it. You have two marauders shooting them, that punishes them quite hard. You don't have
Yeah,
those two
definitely one of my
marauders.
weaknesses is like if I tunnel vision on the drop and like the racks are a little bit late. But like that's not something I'm gonna ask about. So like, I kind of know what the problem is as much as like there's definitely been times where I'm like, okay, I had them down and I
I mean,
still struggle.
yeah. Well, I
Yep.
do the same thing, man. I do the same thing. I should
And
have been in
then
canning with this build yesterday. Canning's like really good, man. I was like got in such a good spot, did good damage, and then I choked because I was in a good spot and his third was so late. And he made disruptors and I died and I was like, no. Okay. So anyway, okay. So we've got that one. Guys in chat, by the way, let me just check the stream. I'm pretty sure everything looks okay. Yeah, no one's yelling that they can't hear you, so that's good.
it's a bonus.
That's good. Ice Lomi, thanks for the sub. Guys, so if anyone is around, wait, what's your MMR at the moment, my man?
Good question.
Diamond 1?
M3.
You are, oh, you're still M3. I don't know why. I thought you'd dropped
45,
out.
49.
I guess you've been back on the grind for a while now, so
I played around 1100 games last season. But it was as random.
Yeah, you were playing a ton as random.
Yeah, I actually hit like 4650 with random before I dropped like 800 MMR. It was a good time.
Well, we've got Rain here, who I believe is Diamond 1.
All right.
Yeah, and he's a Protoss player. That would be fantastic. All right, so I'm gonna invite Rain and we can play a TvP. Sounds good.
Perfect. And then the other thing I want to just to watch while I play is the Liberator transition. Because I've kind of like given up the mine
later
transition.
On,
I found that like if I go like if I make a couple mines and then just go straight into libs instead of like waiting to see a Colossus, that helps a little bit.
Yeah. So you just kind of like, let's just have the default be going up to libs. So yeah. Because if you're scouting it, sometimes you realize when there's like too much stuff out, right?
Like I did like the mines a lot more like with Bro and people are doing a lot more like Mass Gateway, but I haven't seen it as much. So
yeah. And you can get better at like sacrificing a marine in or dropping a scan on their army, kind of, outside their natural where it normally is. Okay, so straight to libs is something we're going to try and, just keep an eye on that transition, make sure that's smooth. Awesome. Any maps you don't want to play?
I'm good with anything.
Oh, I'm going to need to leave party real quick, actually. So can you leave party as well?
All right.
I got my server to AU
setting
from playing WCS yesterday, so I'll put it on US West, and that should be fine. And I'll re-invite you guys.
And then after this, my next question will be like, I've had a struggle with like roach timing. It's not like the 19 railgun like roach timing, but like kind of like 30 to 40 workers. I've seen the replays and like it's not the same every time, and they kind of stop there. They still get a third, but I'm having a hard time. Like what time do I need to scan or something?
Okay, so 30
to identify that.
Okay, TVZ.
And then make like 6 to 8 roaches. It's not like super all in, but it definitely can catch me off.
Yeah, I mean, roach and with Zerglings as well, right? Like potentially, it could just be a bunch of Ravagers doing a poke, like the old BL pressure I used to call it. I did like a daily on it forever, or it can be the 4 billion Zerglings with it, and you lose your Hellions, and well, if those Hellions go down, you fuck. You got to keep those alive, right? They're the thing that stops them from killing you.
Super rough.
That's the thing we always forget. We're like, like it's like okay, it's all fine, and then we like just forget to babysit those Hellions in the midst of everything. They die, and suddenly the Zerglings are able to actually engage, and then you have like even just 3 Hellions alive, and they're behind a bunker and some SCVs, and like the Lings actually just get evaporated. So it's insane how useless the Hellions feel against the Roaches, and at the same time they're your only thing stopping the insane damage of the Zerglings from crushing home.
That's what I need. I just need to like, what time in my head do I need to like either, it's probably I guess just a scan. Because like a lot of the games, it's hard to get into the main to see it with the Reaper because they have queens, they're natural or something.
Would you rather I call you? Your stream viewers seem to call you V triple. Should I call you V triple as well now? Should we
you triple it? V triple. I go by both, so
that's what I thought. Right? Yeah, it's like you're not. You don't care. I mean,
triple is the real.
As long as it's triple, yeah.
Yeah. That's because like originally my name back in the day was like Triple X, and like there was like a guy named that in Halo, so I ended up just switching to like triple with like V in front of it because it was the Halo thing. U and V was like the Halo thing, and you just put that in front of your gamer tag. So like
Like a badass.
yeah, you know, like the true like 2007 nerd that was.
Oh yeah. All right, Rain's ready. Let's dive on in. Awesome. All right, so Rain's like I think 200. You're like 4,500. Are you 44 or something like that?
45, 47 ish. I don't
Something like that. Okay, cool. So you got like a 300 MMR advantage. So you know, in a way, this is maybe not going to be the highest pressure match. Then again, we never know how it'll go, right?
It really
So
depends on how he plays. I feel like if he does anything like two base timing, I die to that almost every time. Just because like my scouting, like I just kind of default to my three base build too often. It
yeah.
just feels.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll keep my eye on that as well then. That's awesome.
But I did play really well against my buddy Olrock last night. He was like 50, 100. We took 2 out of 8 games off him, so I was very happy
Very
with that
nice. That's awesome, man. Yeah.
because he's
How do
definitely a
you
lot better than
sorry,
me.
how did you say his name again?
Olrock.
Oh, I always call him ORL Rock.
Oh, yeah. I only know because I like talked to him, so I like heard
he's
it
a
verbally, you know.
he's a big passion lord. Awesome. All right, man. Get in your groove and kick some ass. Let's do it. Let's murder some Protoss. All right, guys. So, let me just fix up that donation goal and stuff since he just paid for coaching with that. So I'm just going to fix that up.
SCV ready.
So I believe we were at like 200. We were at $196 or something like that. $191, I think it was. So let me just end that goal and restart it again. From about where it was. I'll say we're at 200, even though it was a little bit lower than that.
SCV ready.
Let's see, did that work? There we go, that worked. And we'll also empty me tip jar. Did that work? Yeah, okay, me tip jar's empty. Cool. All right, guys. Okay. Got that up. All right. Favorite travel location in Asia, says I slow me. I mean, I've mostly been to Asia just for work, so I haven't really explored nearly as much as I would like. Absolutely love the food in Singapore, I slow me. Gonna go to Vietnam next month for the first time. Really excited to see how that goes. Me and Dot are having a little 1 week vacation next month over there, so that should be awesome. Well, just over a week, in fact. It's about, it'll be about 3 weeks from now or so.
SCV ready.
I've been to China many times. I do actually enjoy China a lot. Give me that hot butt. Oh, doesn't quite raise the depot. He's gonna lose an SCV, I think. Keeps his Reaper alive. Factory's down. It's more important to start the starport than the factory. He does have his guys on gas. He starts his Marines on time. Still pretty damn good. Oh, that drilly boy. Oh, that drilly boy's drill is so erect right now. Oh my lord. Jesus. Hang a sheet over that drill. Be like, my god, you're pitching a tent. Random horny SCV jokes aside. Yeah.
Your SCVs are getting
Hey, Spaceman. What's up, dude?
SCV ready.
Oh, he should have shaded that already. Why is he running so far forward? He should have known where that adept was coming from. So taking so long to shade that was a little bit of a mistake there for sure. It's okay. He's got 4 Marines on it. They'll take it out. But so he sees it's a blink opening. It's actually a very late blink opening.
Your SCVs are under
What's he doing? Oh, you triple. Yeah, he got really carried away with this build. Power of the drills. The drilly boys. Oh, yeah. He's doing all right considering.
The little building on the right side of your big building's done.
He's got to prioritize SCVs a little bit, though.
SCV
Oh, he's doing a Widow Mine drop and Marines in the natural? I really prefer my way of doing it. I feel like it's much harder for the Protoss to respond to. Or is he only doing the drop? I don't know. This is a very weird pattern that he's going for. So normally, guys, you run a Widow Mine in and burrow it in the natural, and you time it out. So this hits the main, and like about 3 seconds later, the Widow Mine just waddles through. So you kind of queue it up ahead of time.
We could use some help here. SCV ready.
But if your opponent's not watching, or they pull too late like that, oh, that Widow Mine's gonna do shit all. Ah, you got 2 kills on that. That's alright. You can just hide in the back for now. That's something.
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
Add-ons finished.
Uh,
SCV ready.
oh. Yeah, you wanna already have a siege tank out by this point, normally. He's up against a blink open. He doesn't have a bunker down either. That 3rd CC is like way too early right now. Yeah, and he lost his Reaper. So, yeah. Okay, cool. I've started doing this build again recently, guys, so I've got a lot of tiny details that I'm immediately noticing. Okay.
SCV ready.
Keeping Reaper alive and blocking 3rd is godlike.
Oh, we didn't even make the tanks.
Complete.
Yeah, because he's used to using his factory as a builder. But he doesn't even have a bunker, so he's just dead, I think. Ah, it's a pretty shitty Stalker count, to be honest. An interference matrix? What? That's bizarre. I would think an auto turret would be the better choice there. Oh my god. But yeah. So I don't like this Marines on the front and mines in the main split.
SCV ready.
For the classic mine walks into natural right after Marine mine hits main base. First early
SCV ready.
adept, we saw where it was coming from. We could have burrowed our mine
Research finished.
to intercept it.
SCV ready.
Misjudged how far we should move on the map.
Ready for dust off.
Go.
3rd CC was very fast.
Research complete.
Factory needs to remember to build itself a tech lab.
We could use some help here.
Don't use itself
Armed and ready.
as a reactor builder. He got stim and shields, right? Yeah, he does.
We could use some help here.
So yeah, you want to move out on the map just to kill observers and create threat. But you don't want to actually commit to attacking with these units unless you have a pretty good reason to it. Like 1-1 and charge is done, so this was a terrible choice to attack here. This is meant to just be a zoning force. But this is something that you triple falls into a lot, where he just starts pushing against Protoss with his first medevacs and like microing like crazy. And you know, it can work if the pro player's behind, but it can also be incredibly dangerous. Like, yeah, losing the Raven. If he loses these medevacs, it's pretty bad. And as it is, just losing all those units. So there was no reason to push there. Cleaned up obs and pushed stalkers off the map.
Ready for dust off.
Should have just threatened around the map. No
Mineral
reason
field
to
depleted.
push with your first stim buyer. Super overly ambitious.
Kaboom, baby.
Lost all your buyer and first 2 medevacs.
You want a piece of me,
And
boy?
then Protoss had heaps of freedom.
Ready for dust off.
So he's going straight up into range libs now, but it is after going 5 barracks.
Go time.
It's acceptable.
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
He's got 1-1. So he's got a double drop. Ooh, yeah, I don't know. Oh, what is this? He's not watching. There's an observer really well set up. Rain's playing pretty well. Pretty impressed with how Rain's playing, guys. But U Triple is the higher MMR player, so I think he's gonna drown him.
Armed and ready. Let's have a blast. You want a piece of
He's
me,
gonna have to
boy?
just kill a few zealots and then get the fuck out. So leave. Oh, is it good? Okay. Oh, Rain was so afraid of the other army. It took so long to bring the rest of his units here. That's like game winning. Yeah. Oh my god, he catches the high tempo. Alright, that's game. He's like very YOLO with these bio attacks. This sort of thing here, though, like sandwiched his own army. Luckily for him, you know, Rain is in a bit of panic. But, ooh, very dangerous. GG, well played. You didn't click rewind. Bad habit.
Yeah.
Always. Every single game, man. Same thing I got to tell myself as well. We got to be hard on that, dude. Clicking that rewind button is such an important habit for keeping you in the right mindset when you're laddering and stuff. Even if you just check like one or two things real quickly, like, hey, what was my opponent's work account, et cetera, et cetera. If you
I normally
rewound
check
this-
that with SC2 replay stats, and if I lose the game, I'll just go back and rewatch.
Yeah, it's just a really good habit to rewind immediately. Like, does replay stats tell you that Storm was a few seconds from finishing in 2-2?
It can tell me whether he had it or not. But yeah, I don't think there's a good way to see when it was started and how close it was to being done. That's a
Yeah,
good point.
I think that the replay is always just going to give you a bit more context of like, does it, you know, where he's expand. Oh, he's had a fourth base finished, right? Yeah, you could look at this
Right.
game and be like, man, oh, okay, we actually got in there, you know, and kind of picked him apart, you know, caught those High Templar in the open and stuff. If he
Yeah.
had another minute, then yeah, it would have been a lot harder to take him down. You know, so things kind of worked out for us, right? But
Yeah.
so just a good habit I think we should always try to have is just make it an instinct to hit that rewind button. Even
Right.
in the games where we're like, nah, I just want to queue up more games, and then you just exit instantly after rewinding. I just think it's like the best habit we should all try to build as players because like just gets us in that learning mode. So
Yeah, totally. I mean, it makes sense for
yeah,
sure.
good multi-prong there. I felt like your first bio pressure across the map was pretty bad though. Like that one where you committed and you lost all your bio.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any reason for you to push in there, and you kind of lost a lot of units. I was a bit worried about that because you were looking really good up to that point, and those units would have been really valuable. Was there a reason you committed with that bio timing, or you just always do it, right? Because I don't know. I feel like once you get stim and shields, you just in the past your traditional way of doing it has been like push and just stim and start a step and stim and start a step. And
It's just
keep
that
fighting for the rest of the game.
I knew that I got those workers, so I was like, you know, trying to get him like the
just
pressure
keep
on.
the pressure up. Yeah.
Because like he's like, okay, yeah, you might have a couple units, but I still feel like, yeah, if like I don't get the probe damage like against my buddy Olronk, like I'll wait until I have like 2 medevacs and you know maybe 2 liberators or 4 medevacs or whatever at least.
Okay. Well,
Um,
you know, it worked out quite, you know, poorly this time, but like his charge literally just kicked in, and his 1-1 literally just kicked in as you did it. Like, so it's
Yeah,
one of those
lost
things where,
everything.
right, if you're 15 seconds faster, like, who knows? Yeah, maybe that's actually like, you know, you pick away a few units, but you see there's enough units and you can kind of get out of that situation, right? Because there's no charge, you can't blink forward. So I'm like, I kind of get it. It is just a very high risk, high reward play, but I like that there was a reason for it. You know, that's what I wanted to dig for. I was like, why are you committing to that? You've just said a pretty
Yeah.
good reason. You said, I did some damage. You know, I thought that, you know, let's keep the pressure up. And that to me says that that's a logical process, right? You can't know, and you're not going to have 100% perfect game sense as long as there's some sort of logical process there as to why you did that. It's not like, oh, I just fucking attacked because I felt like it, right? Like that's good. So I'm actually totally happy with that. Even though the move didn't work out, I'm going to say good job. However, one problem is the first wave didn't do as much damage as we would have liked. Now, the second Widowmine drop is where you got some really good damage. But with your first one, you tried to run 4 Marines in the front and then 2 Widowmines in the main. Is that your normal pattern at the moment, or was this just something you kind of shifted into?
So I've been doing that since like I actually got a tip from Roddy to do that. I played a game against him, and he said that'd be more annoying. So I actually do like what I'll do is I try to walk the Marines in and get like a couple probes, just as a distraction.
Right.
So that's why I ran him away, because I saw the stalkers at the front. So I'm like, oh, can't do it.
Yeah, I mean it's so
It's not as good since the Hellion meta. People are walling off more, and they have units there. So open to suggestions for sure.
well, it's interesting, right? Because what this did in this game, I'm looking at the replay, and that was the distraction, right? It's a 1-2 punch, right? You always want to distract with one and get damage with the other. In this case, you went in with the Marines first, and then the Widowmine drop, and this almost paid off in the most epic of ways. Where our first Widowmine got 4 kills, but was very close to getting 7 or 8. And our second one was just a little bit slow to burrow. Still gets 2 kills, so it wasn't terrible, right? But it's just one of these things where I feel like it's like a bit of a gamble, game. Oh man, you didn't fly that medevac to the corner. Jesus, risky.
Yeah, that was really bad. I should have lost that 100%. When he was shooting it, I was like, oh my god, that should be dead. And I looked back and I was like, how is it still there?
Pretty sure he just moved command of those stalkers expecting it to fly away as well. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
It didn't fly away? Shit, I should have microed that. But at the same time, it makes logical sense for him not to look at it because he assumes you'll micro it.
Right. The whole, you assume they're going to do it right, so you don't, do the check.
Exactly, that's so funny. All those little things. Yeah, so it's just one of these things, right, where I feel like you add Marines to something and it just creates more sustained damage, right? At the same time, a Widowmine can do really big damage as well, which is why I like the, always hit with the first punch, the 6 Marines and the mine in the main, and then the Widowmine runs in and burrows the natural. You can do it this way as well, and you can shift between the 2 focuses. What I liked about this one is even though he can obviously split and spread, you can fire the 2 Widowmines, pick them up, and recycle it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you more of that. The problem is, you don't have your Marine drop there. And a Widowmine drop in of itself never has the chance to do sustained damage. So if they do handle, the drop well, and they can kind of come across the map quite quickly. I'm not going to say it's wrong. I just wanted to investigate that and say, okay, as long as there's a reason. So do you always try to hit with the Marines just before the drop, or the drop just before the Marines? Because I feel like we should be consistent with what we focus on.
Marines before the drop. Because they typically get there faster too, just slightly.
Okay.
I mean, that time I sent the medevac too far around. So that definitely delayed that.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's go and look at let's check my notes actually. Sorry, I'm going off the top of my head, which is dumb. I've got way better notes written down. If you kept your Reaper alive and managed to block the 3rd with it, that's godlike with this opening, because that often also pulls a Stalker or 2 down to their 3rd right when your Marines are walking in. And you often get a probe or 2 with it as well. Now, you were scouting, you got some good vision, you didn't get to do that. That's fine. Just something to remember is if you ever still have that Reaper left over, a lot of people get antsy and are like, I've got a Reaper, it's useless, let's throw it away. And it's like, no. Its ability to block the 3rd, especially against this sort of blink opening, is really good.
Yeah, I love to keep it alive, especially if they have units at the front, because you can bounce them and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To get through.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so the Adept at the start, you saw this coming, and I think you were a bit distracted because it looked like you were watching your Widowmine, and you could have burrowed your Widowmine at the perfect position because you saw where the Adept was coming from. Because your SCV saw it, and there was this weird moment. So I'm going to your camera and I'm kind of looking, because I think you got distracted.
Did I not burrow?
You burrowed it, just not in the right position. Because looking at your mini map, so I'm at the point in the replay, you see the Adept shade, and you should just burrow your Widowmine immediately. And instead you kept moving it forward, and you shaded it way too far in front. And to me that was a little bit obvious, but that was just poor sense there. You were like, oh quick, let's try and get on top of that shade. You always want to just burrow in front of it and let them walk into your mine. They usually will. But you tried to burrow on top of the shade and it went straight past you. And it's such a shame because your Widowmine was in the perfect position. If you just instantly burrowed that, you're like, oh, the Adept's there. Let's just burrow my mine where it is.
Like I normally do.
Yeah, and you were actively microing it. So that was just a real missed opportunity because that, I feel like, distracted you from your build just a little bit. You did a really good job of handling Reaper scouting, panic dealing with the Adept and all this. But it could have been, one of those problems where the Adept wriggles around a little bit more and you actually end up in way more trouble. And, you lose 2 SCVs and the mining time and stuff and things get really nasty.
Yeah, I was lucky he was move commanding for a minute because I got a lot of damage on it with those Marines.
Yeah. Otherwise, that could have been really, really bad for you.
Like 6 workers. That would have been
Yeah.
brutal.
And it's just the distraction time as well.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, it's a critical time in the build. So
Yeah.
it does mess me up. I think it even messes up the drop because I don't control group it right. Like it threw everything off. So I just need to burrow that Widowmine and forget it.
So you've got to
tunnel
remember
vision.
to build an extra tech lab with your factory. You're used to building 2 reactors with it. Remember to build an extra tech lab is what you'll need to change in the build to get the siege tank out. Because you lift off the tech lab, and then you're going to swap a barracks onto it, and that's fine. But you got to build another tech lab and then get a tank out straight away.
Yeah.
So
I
just
did mention
swap
that.
out
I was like, I
that,
forgot my.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
shit.
yeah. So it's really important to remember that because that's like real muscle memory for you. Is that reactor? That's going to feel really natural. So you've really got to just do a little bit more conscious focusing on it because otherwise you're going to forget it over and over.
Yeah, I'm
again.
just gonna keep going to the default of what I've been doing forever. So you're right.
Exactly. You also went for a really quick third CC, which is not bad in of itself, but just it's totally okay to go a 6-minute command center. Like you don't need it that fast, especially because you're doing
Okay.
Widowmine damage. But it's more important. The reason I don't like you dropping your third CC when you did is you did it when you hadn't queued up units at 5 minutes. Okay, so
You didn't have the Marauders on the way.
yeah. I'm like, well, we should be queuing up even 4 Marines on the reactive barracks. You know, we should be getting these add-ons going and stuff, and these Marauders. But also, you know, our pressure's essentially being held. It's 5 minutes and we don't have a bunker down, and that's scary as shit. That's very frightening that we don't have a bunker down. We also did make a small mistake. We built 3 depots in a row. You always want to leave a hole in the middle of your wall for that bunker. Always, right? Because we don't want the bunker to be like on this weird exposed edge where it can get focused down by stalkers really far away from a siege tank on the high ground or the low ground, right? You also don't want it because if it's on one side, they can hold position if you don't have a tank and pick off depots on the other side of the wall. It's just bad to have the bunker not in the middle of the wall. We want the bunker to be in the middle of the wall. So really important to remember that. And that bunker, you know, as soon as our pressure fizzles, basically after the first Widowmine drop and the Marines die, it's like the bunker is and unit production are like our priority. So have just a little bit more focus on that. Be happy to delay the third CC. It's a real slight reordering. You know, you did end up going for these things, like the unit production right after. The main one, though, was the bunker, where I was like, how the fuck do we not have a bunker yet? Oh my god, no. I was like, this is crazy. But yeah, other than that, it was a slight reordering. It was just no bunker and no siege tank. Whereas if we have the bunker, we have the siege tank. On this map, I would have put the siege tank.
Add-ons finished.
I feel like your natural wall was a little bit far forward. I would put that wall quite a bit further back, like as far back as possible. So
Starting up there.
just so it's kind of like in line with the high ground a little bit more, because you really don't want that wall to be too far forward. Because if we can have a bunker, I'm just calculating about there. You're not going to cover it completely, but then we want to have a siege tank covering most of the main. So we probably would have that siege tank like, I don't know, maybe just above the reactor, or just to the right of that even, just in a bit of a recess position, because you really just need to make sure you don't get ravaged too hard.
Right.
Where you built your third CC was also a little bit risky, as we found out when that got cancelled.
Greedy boy. I was lazy.
Yeah. And
It's
obviously,
like right where they blink in.
and once your bunker's full, you should be like waiting up here in the main, right? Like kind of, you know, around your ramp / just on top of it, because you're expecting the blink in. You're not expecting them to break your bunker. And we should probably use auto turrets rather than interference matrix, in my opinion. What do you reckon?
Yeah,
Stalkers.
definitely. I agree.
Cool.
It was definitely a panic, 100%. Like,
I liked it because I was like, that's just weird. I don't see anyone do that usually, except as in this click. But that's cool.
a lot
All
of
right.
the times I'll see like people like derp their stalker afterwards and I'll get the kill, but it's probably not like a sustainable gamble.
Yeah, well, I mean, it stops it from blinking out, right? So if you were like, I kind of like it where you're like, oh, I can just stim on this or something. You're like, interference matrix 3 stalkers, so they can't blink out. Like that's, it's a huge amount of energy, but I kind of like it. So yeah, I don't know. There's some cool moves there. So anyways, let's play another game here. I'm gonna go for a really big map, King's Cove.
All right.
By the way, guys in chat, if we have any Zerg players around, especially anyone who's good with some dirty stuff,
Yeah, if you got timing, throw them at me and you'll watch me just crumble.
yeah.
I saw it even when I started playing earlier today. like I got Bane busted. I lost the first game. I played him again. I beat him. I'm like, this is just so classic me. Like, I see a cheese, I either overreact or underreact to it. And then I watched the replay, and I'm like, okay, yeah, make the, don't be super greedy. Make the extra eBay, because I had one eBay blocking, one side and not the other, because this is how I lose all cheese games. I'm just greedy as hell. So yeah.
Yeah, me too, man. I still lose to the stupidest all-ins all the time. Like, I see roaches coming across the map, and I'm like, yeah, it'll be like a 4 or 5 roach ravager pressure, and I'm like, that's cool. I got a bunker and like a widow mine, I'm fine. It's like, well, no, it's like 7 ravagers and endless circlings reinforcing, and I'm like, why don't I have a siege tank out? Like, why is my wall not up? Just dumb shit, right? But
Yep.
it's just about remembering to think about how far ahead we can be. And the fact that it's okay to just aim to be even, right? Just survive and aim to be what you think is even. And usually you're actually further ahead than you realize, right?
Most definitely.
Where as Terran players, we're like, no. Like, I got to deflect this with a bare minimal response and then, like, get on the counter aggressive, because that's my comfort zone as a Terran player. And sometimes we just need to take a deep breath there, play a little bit more safe and focus on execution rather than try to toe that line so fucking narrowly, because I feel like as long as we can be confident there, confidence allows us to play well in those situations, means we play better under fire, under pressure. And like, even though maybe we overreacted a bit technically for the specific situation, we didn't have all the info to know that was an overreaction. It's better to overreact slightly, survive. Most Zerg players are going to overreact, like overcommit as well, right? It's the thing, right? You see a Zerg player is doing these Roach Ravager pressures, and you're like, cool, he's going to swap into like Mutas and then unupgraded Ling Bane and just try to like run into my army when I'm not looking, and like run into my mineral lines when I'm not looking. Because like, you identify that's that sort of Zerg player. Like, this guy doesn't know how to spread creep. This guy doesn't use control groups. Like, he just, you can tell.
you can tell.
I'm like, I know how you got to this rank. It's all through cheeky tactics. It's all through ambushing your opponent. You don't have that solid play. That's fine. I can accommodate a little bit. Good point from Bullia. He was saying like, oh, weren't you criticizing the third CC? Saying, well, you don't need that because against Blink, like you don't want that fast CC. I guess it's just a reordering of priorities, right? We kind of covered that just then, but it's like the third CC is fine. It was just always remember the bunker and the tank first, right? And the tank is going to be a default part of the build. We're just reorganizing the build a little because this is common. We're going to be safe against it. And the bunker is just something, it's like, oh shit, this is, Blink. Let's fucking get that bunker, right? And with this build in general, we should probably always be building that bunker after the pressure as well. So they should both be default. They don't need to be reactive. It's more just like the moment your pressure fizzles, it's like, bam, get that bunker down, and your tank should already be on the way. So those should just be default parts of your build, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
I think with a Raven build, always get the bunker for sure. Awesome, man. All right, let's do it.
And one thing is I canceled my third, so like the two base kind of push there was like a better call than trying to remake the third, right?
Oh, you didn't remake it?
Not for a minute.
That's fine.
I threw down 2 racks instead.
Constant unit production was fine. I mean, it's I think both are okay calls there. It worked out, didn't it? So yeah, I mean, you had no information to go off. So was it the right call? I don't know. Turned out to be.
It was mostly just like he had done like this chunk of damage, and I had already like basically almost had the third done. So I figured the economic advantage that I would have by like remaking that third is so delayed that like I might as well just make the 2 racks first. But that was my thought process.
I mean, you're basically just committing harder to the aggression, right? And in this case, he tried to go 4th base, storm, double upgrades, and 70 probes. Worked out. If he towed the line a little bit more, built a few more units, was a little bit more on top of your multi-prong, shuts it down, it's like, well, that was fucking bad, right? Because we didn't get enough damage, and then he's got storm, and our third isn't even landed, right? So, which one's right? I don't even want to think of it in terms of what's right. Let's just think of it in terms of we commit one way or the other.
Which one do I need to do? That's really what we're asking.
Well, it's more which one are you as long as you confidently commit one way or the other, I like it, right? Like you took some damage, you're like, fuck, that third CC was almost done, it went down. Let's either commit hard to rebuilding it and still trying to play out that game, or let's go the 4th and 5th racks. As long as you commit hard one way or the other, I honestly think that's way more important, because I just think with where we were in that game, we didn't have any information, to add on whether or not it was the better choice, and you're never going to. As long as you
guess-
confidently commit one way, that's the important thing.
Could argue I might have had the information because like I had done a little bit of economic damage early, so like it would make that aggression a little stronger, correct? So maybe that's the hindrance. If like I don't get any early damage done, I try to play out a more longer game. More of like the kind of surviving the storm, if you will, versus like, oh, I've done, I killed like 5 or 6 probes. He should be a little bit weaker in that mid game transition, or is that the wrong?
I think it just comes down more to which way he commits, though. I think it's
Okay.
more important how far he presses his greed and how well he scouts what you're up to. Because as
So
much
really
as you're kind of correct, it's like, well, if you've done that damage, that also slows down his macro transition. So there's an argument for you can go toe-to-toe in the macro game better. So it actually technically doesn't actually feed into one or the other.
All right.
Every player has a habit of justifying the way they like to play based on that and making the sort
Right.
of argument you just made, including really fucking high-level players and some of the best pros I've ever talked to use that sort of justification. And I always feel like there's no actual logical basis for it. And this is kind of a theory discussion that goes very deep. But but I still like them having that because anything that gives them confidence in committing hard to what they're doing is a good thing. I really think, I think there's it comes down more to how your opponent's going to play in that situation. And when people say, oh, he's lost probes, therefore my 2-base push should work, I think what we're really reading into that and what we really mean is I've distracted and screwed with my opponent's build order, therefore he will feel more urgency to rebuild economy and push that harder than normal. In the current meta, most players respond to taking damage by going more economy, more upgrade focused. Therefore, my aggression is more likely to catch them off guard while they're in the midst of trying to catch up economically, and being aggressive is the better response. But that's basically just the meta. That's just people happen to be greedy after taking damage. Maybe the attitudes change. You play like a Haas type player, and he just goes more aggressive in that stage, and it doesn't work as well. So I think it's very flexible based on how your opponent plays. Either way, I'm gonna shut the fuck up, get in your groove, kick some ass. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out. No scout? No, this is a gas first build, so it's always a little bit harder to squeeze a scout into a gas first build.
Add-ons finished.
Good scouting. Good production, good rhythm here from you, Triple. That Drilly Boy is gonna fucking destroy that probe. You absolutely can still SCV scout with a gas first tank, but it's just the build goes a little bit smoother if you don't. Now, obviously, this is a little bit of a rough opening. If your opponent goes for a proxy second gateway or something like that, it can be a little bit tough to deal with. But there's small gambles in all sorts of play. I don't coach people and say this is how you should play the game, right? I coach them on saying, we could do this, we could do that, right? And if they're not sure how they want to play, and they're like, just tell me what style you know best, or tell me what style you think's good, I'll be like, okay, and I'll just teach them a style that's pretty solid and pretty good. But it's never something where I'm like, this is how you play this matchup, because I don't believe this is how you play this matchup. StarCraft's a strategy game, and since this is a Masters 3 player, you triple. Actually, I think I put Diamond 1 in the title, didn't I? Oh, did one of my beautiful mods adjust the stream title? I think they might have actually changed it to Masters. I think I had Diamond 1 in the title before. Tyrell, thanks for the 5-month resub. Jason, thank you so much for that. Big further back. So guys, we're gonna do a little marine pressure in the front and a double Widowmine drop in the main. Double racks coming down behind this, and you remember the tech lab on the factory this time, because he keeps dying to blink stalkers, and then he's got to remember the bunker once this pressure fizzles. So he's sending those marines in the front. He's overthinking this a little bit. He's taken a bit too long to get this Widowmine drop sorted. Oh, okay, he sent the Reaper in. I actually much prefer you keep the Reaper alive. And hide in the dead space. Okay, cool. Starts the bunker, good. It's more important for his production to get going right now. Ooh, this is a bit of an awkward factory position. It'll be fine. Pretty sure. Yeah, that should be enough space for a siege tank to fit through there. But the siege tank can't fit through there. It's a single space gap.
Like when it's the wet season at my
if this was
farm.
blocked, the tank would have to go shroop, And now it would literally... Oh! It would have to go all the way around the back. So anyways, stim, shields will be starting off in a sec. More depots starting. Good, 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 good.
Fueled up, ready to go.
And he's got a siege tank out.
SCV ready.
I kind of like this low ground siege position on this map, but it's also a little bit dangerous. Like, this third CC is just a free snipe. If his opponent was going blink, which in fact he is, like, this is a terrible position right now.
SCV ready.
You should have most of your units in your main base. Your siege tank's also, you know, in a bit of a dodgy position.
SCV ready. It's about to get heavy.
He has nothing in his bunker right now as well. This is...
Let's have a blast.
So, this map's kind of rough, but because that third CC is so exposed, it's like such a free angle for those stalkers to blink in and get a snipe. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a better siege tank location.
Go time.
He really should have those units in that bunker. But, yeah, a little bit sloppy, but it's okay. So basically what you do, guys, is you put your couple of Marines there, and then you just rally the rest of your bio up to roughly where he is, and your Raven, and you just chill there, and you have your siege tank covering both. This map's tough. Yeah, having the siege tank there, like, it can be good, but it's more important to protect your main than your natural, because you've got a bunker in your natural, which is why, like, sometimes I might even just put that siege tank there, right? And then it covers the entire main base, right? Once you've got enough bio in the main, you know, it's chill. It's fine. His macro's a bit sloppy this game. Like, where's his SCV production? Seems a little bit iffy. He's got a SCV rally point in the main base, which is weird. Those SCVs are rallied to your unit rally point, and keep up that SCV production. Put guys on gas, fix up your macro here. You doing pretty alright? Alright. He's fine. He's got to get out there, but his medevacs are real slow this game. And his units are still rallied in the main base. So he's... There we go. He's fixed his rally point. He's put it down on the front. Good, 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 good. Third's landed. Should be rallying over there, making an orbital. Now, he's going double bio upgrades this game, guys. Not a bad way to play the double engineering bay bio upgrades, especially since he's got a very much like, hey, I'm going to try and roll over you sort of style with the just endless bio kind of coming across this map. Ooh, he's going to lose a medevac. Not Rain wasn't watching. That's good.
Running out of minerals back home.
Ready for dust off.
What's up, Ansi Chart? Am I covering Mac? No. You triple just play as bio. Just bio into libs. Me favorite style of TvP. Oh, what is this? Why are we... Oh, God. Terrible Widowmine drop location. Really bad spot to drop. Should have dropped in there. It's alright, though. He's got a big push coming. It's a good as zealot count, but I actually think he can beat this army. If he just anti-armor missiles, easiest fight of his life. Oh. I don't know. Like, he saw the army? Okay, 2 epic Widow mine shots. And the auto turrets are also, like, really scary to engage into. But I think if he anti-armor missiled there, and, yeah, he could have had a pretty nice... Did he not have the Raven on a separate key? The Raven's on his main army. Okay. Oh, he keeps his medevacs separate still? So he can manually pull them back. Oh, no, that's just that drop. Okay, where the fuck? The Raven isn't on his army key right now.
I want you to fall in my bed like rain.
Oh, he's F2ing. Is he?
Like when it's the wet
No, he just
season
box
at my
controlled that.
barn.
I'm going to open his stream right now. I want to watch from his point of view.
SCV ready. This better be good.
I feel like he was clicking on the minimap and then boxing those units. That was weird. Some weird stuff going on there. Mathman, thanks so much. The 1 year resub. Tech Jess. Oh my god, 55 months. Thank you so much, Tech Jess. Much love, my friend. I really appreciate that epic long-term support. Thank you so much.
Somebody, get me out of this
Oh my
mess.
god. Okay, I get it. Audible's awesome. I like Audible.
About to
Can we
get
please
heavy.
watch from his point of view? Okay, there we go. I'm just watching from V-Triple's point of view on his stream now on my second monitor.
We're running out of minerals back home.
I mean, he sees there's Storm there. But he sees there's not a lot of supporting in it, so he just kind of goes for it. Lots of boxing, yeah. I don't know. I don't mind boxing in certain scenarios. I just find it really weird that the Raven isn't on the control group and he boxes for it. Does he leave it on follow command on one of his units in these battles, I wonder? Okay, so anyway, he's seen it. He's seen a Protoss player who has Storm. He's got a really weak frontal army here. You know, absolutely, guys, he should be going for range libs and stuff, right? But his range lib transition
Upgrade complete.
is just never happening this game, which is very weird. He's still down here just pushing way too aggressively right
Upgrade's
now.
done.
Let's have a blast.
I really think Rain is just massively over-respecting this. It's taking weight, like, yeah. Like, Rain's fucking around way too long here. Finally, Rain jumps on top of this.
Go, go, go. We could use some help here.
We're running out of minerals.
Oh, it's on. You want a piece of me, boy?
So one of the traditional problems that you know, U-Triple, V-Triple, whatever you want to call him, he uses both, has had, is he does sometimes overextend there. On the aggression, like, you know, I look at that army and I go, what the fuck are we doing here? Shit, you know, if we want to keep the pressure up, let's do some drops, but we need to, like, wait a little bit.
Add-on complete.
The weird thing this game, though, is he's gone double reacted starport rather than range libs, and I feel like we should just stick to the one transition. I find it really weird that one game we would do one, and another game we would do another. So,
Add-on complete.
Let's have a blast. You want a piece of me, boy?
They're attacking your base, you know.
It's go time. Armed and ready. Go, go, go.
Your SCVs are getting wrecked.
Armed and ready. Gangway. We could use some help here. Go, go, go.
Your SCVs are getting wrecked.
It's about to get heavy. This better be good.
Hey, your base is under attack, man.
Baby. Armed and ready. Me, boy.
alright, so there's a lot of really cool things
SCVs are under attack.
we've written down, a bunch of notes about defending after the opening pressure. Very slow to transition into libs, and went double reactor this game. Why? We should stick
Your
to
SCVs are under
one
attack.
type
Pull your
of
boys.
lib transition. Personally think range is better. But as long as we stick to one, it's more about the consistency than it is about one's the right way to play. It's why aren't we doing a consistent reaction? I don't think there's any logical reason he swapped to doing double reactor this game. I think it was just, he just kind of was like, do something random. And, you know, you want to take out randomness from your play. You want to always do things with reason. Main army was very small. We were powering quite hard
Your upgrade's done.
and didn't really have the pieces yet. Kept on pushing the front, despite seeing Storm and a good charge army. We should have pulled back. Now, not just that, but before that,
Baby.
we could have dropped and done lid pressure. He's really fantasying
attacking
this
your
one
base
right
now.
now. His opponent's done 65 workers. We'll tell him to leave in a sec. So we could have dropped and done lid pressure if we want to keep slowing down the Protoss. And before that, remember there was that fight where we saw a huge charge force and A moved into it without setting up.
GG. Sorry, man.
GG! Do we remember to rewind that one?
No.
Damn it! Could have built that habit. GG, GG. All right, so first time getting used to that little change up, getting the tank out and stuff was nice. We've got a good little set of rules and things. So let's go right back to the start. Yeah, so I mean, happens here against Rain that the Marines running in the front doesn't seem to be doing too well at the start. It's still not terrible. Your Widow Mines are getting in the main. I think you are overthinking it a bit with your Widow Mine drop this game. So when we look at your Widow Mine, you started boosting towards the main, and then you veered north just a little bit, and then you veered back to the south. So I think you're maybe umming and ahhing just a little bit there.
Well, there was a stalker at the bottom side of his base.
So did you think there was more there, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, normally you see like 3 at the bottom and 3 at the
natural, yeah.
the
Okay.
natural.
Fair enough. I'm gonna go check what happened with the follow-up Widow Mine drop because I wasn't watching that.
It was a bad burrow. Placement too was not great.
I know you did much later a poor burrow placement. Was that this one? Oh
No.
yes. You kind of moved your drop over and just sat it next to the cyber core, and then
Yeah.
you went for the third base finally. Okay.
It was mostly just like that.
And the fact you kept that drop alive was nice, though. But yeah, the third drop was really bad on it, where you dropped it on the wrong side of the wall. That was the funny drop, where it was like they tried to like run around the robo, and then you just ended up borrowing them on the far side of the gas. So anyway, okay. Main thing is our transition. So it's a little bit different getting the siege tank out, but way better having the bunker. You just never put any units in the bunker, which I didn't like. So that was a little bit awkward because you always want to put at least 2 Marines in. If you're really worried about your main, you don't think he's going to hit your natural, yeah, you can technically just put 1 or 2 Marines in. But you have no units in a bunker, they can see that, right? The bunker looks different, and they can just, pick it off very easily with 6 or 7 Stalkers. Other than that, though, the build looked pretty decent here. With the siege tank on this map, and because you're opting for a pretty consistent fast third CC, and it always is exposed in the main base to blink in snipes, especially like it's almost always in like a weird corner, which is fine. I would say you either need to start building that command center in your natural base where it's safer, or we can keep it where it is. But I was thinking, you know what, as a good general rule, I think the way we should structure our defense is let's rely on the bunker at the front. If you're not getting busted a lot, and you obviously, you tell me if you agree with this, I would put that siege tank to the left of your starport, and that way it would have covered the entire main base. Basically say siege tank covers the entire main from blink in, right? And this is focused a bit more on the main, but it's because your third CC is such a juicy target constantly, and it's so far on the edge, that I'm like, okay, let's put that tank there. And then once the bunker has 4 Marines in it, everything else is rallied to just in the main base, right? And hopefully we can even snipe the observer for bonus points. And that's essentially it. Have the tank ready, have units in the bunker, and we should be good from there. Are you a bit worried about the frontal getting broken, the bunker? Do you want to keep the siege tank where it is, or what?
This is like why I hate siege tanks. Because like with a cyclone, you could pick off like a stalker or 2, and it just moves around so much faster. The siege tank, I don't know what's a good spot on this map for it, just because it's so like this so wide open. There's no, I don't like. He could just blink around the top north side here, and even if I put this tank pretty far forward, like for me to cover like the back end of my base there, I feel like you can.
Well, if you put it on the left-hand side of your starport, it will cover like everything except the very most edge where like 2 stalkers could stand. So
Okay.
it's essentially fully covered, because your bio can always come forward to support it as well. So I think it's totally fine to just put the siege tank in the main. I would still put the CC in the natural because that's a much safer area rather than having it so far out on the edge, right?
Okay.
You ended up with your buildings in a little bit of a weird position. So like if you
Terrible
look at your
position?
production as well, yeah, like this tech
That's
level
all
above your
fucked up.
first barracks is bad, right? Because if we had 3 structures all in a row directly
Yeah.
above the barracks, right? 2, what, bam, 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 we can then
That
have a
seems to be
2-space
what
gap
fit
to the
better.
right, and then you can fit your next two buildings there. So your 3 barracks, your factory, your starport can all be fit, and it'll barely extend to the right of your command center. And then suddenly it's like, oh, cool. Like you could even, have the siege tank just to the right of your depot, on top of your ramp. And that way it's like, it's kind of covering everything. Or you could have it on the low ground even and just rely on your bio, because whilst they can blink in and get towards your mineral line, there's no like stim that's like all the way over to the right, or a CC all the way over to the right. There's ways we can adjust that. The important thing is just get used to loading that bunker up and go from there. As the game progressed, there was 2 key things to follow on. Number 1 was our lib transition. Now, we went for double reacted libs rather than range libs. Why did we do that when we went range libs in the previous game?
There's no reason.
Okay.
I just did.
I thought so. So I reckon, just stick to the range libs. They're better. I used to do this, and I still very occasionally do. Fucking double reactor libs just is nowhere near as good. Like this sort of game, he hasn't gone Stargate. Range libs kicks in, you can literally siege all 3 mineral lines without getting hit, and it's like almost a GG move right there. 3 liberators. You suddenly have no pressure to attack. He's got to drop a Stargate and build a fucking single void ray, and it's going to take forever to deal with. So there's just no reason not to go range libs, okay? So always stick to the range libs. There's no reason to ever go double reacted starport unless you're massing Vikings against Phoenix Colossi, okay? Try to be consistent on that, because I've made the same mistake and you end up just with a different transition. It flows a little bit different and it's a bit weird. So our macro wasn't as strong this game because of the change up with the tank and everything. We just missed a lot of SCV production. We didn't transfer workers out of our main for a while. That's fine. You'll get more used to that faster bunker, that faster siege tank. Now, when you did start pushing, you actually caught almost all of his stalkers in the middle of the map. And we had this really nice push at 8.5 minutes. What was weird is you did a double scan here. Your first scan actually saw most of his army. I guess it didn't see everything, so maybe you just wanted to confirm.
I was looking for the High Templar, yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, they should never have Storm this early, but I guess I can understand looking for that. Like,
I've been hit
especially
by
when you see
Storm
so
at
many
like 8 minutes. Some people are crazy. Doesn't mean it's...
Yeah. We'd like blink
guess
into
that's
a
more of,
fast
like,
third though. They like shouldn't really be able to do that and have so many zealots and upgrades and stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's more of like me being like traumatized more than all.
Yeah, trying to
Right,
avoid
like-
that trauma. For sure, man. But this push was really dirty. I was like, oh cool, you might be able to just win. Like at first I was like, oh, he's got a ton of zealots, this is scary. And then I was like, oh, actually you've got like Widow Mines, a tank, a Raven. And I said to the stream while I was watching, I was like, oh, if he just drops an anti-armor and like has his unit set up, this will be great. And oh, okay. So your army, you watch Game of Thrones, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember the guy when he fights the mountain back in season whatever, the eye thing, what's his name? The guy from Narcos, the Scorpion,
Yeah, no,
whatever
you're
he's
talking
called.
about, I guess, his head scratch.
Yeah, gets his head crushed in.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you're him. You're a skinny fucking lethal agile Terran player. You're all like fucking like I got my spear, I got my fancy tricks. But he's got fucking charge lots, and that's a big fucking 600-pound muscular psychopath who shoves his baby brother into the fire for fun and laughs madly. The last thing you want to do is headbutt him, and you headbutted him.
Yeah.
It's like
Without the
that-
anti-armor missile, it was like the worst
worst
engagement I could have taken.
You didn't have your tank sieged, and you only had some of your mines sieged, and you kind of stimmed and just A-moved in front of your tech units. And it was like, man, if we just like moved up to where your tank was, sieged the tank and the mines, told the anti-armor missile to go down, and then stimmed and started stepping straight away, like this would have been huge. You got a few really good Widow Mine shots, but we'd already taken some big charge damage, and then we end up kind of doing these panic auto turrets, and he just pulls back, and they don't take that much. Thankfully for you, the Widow Mines did huge damage, but it was just like one of these fights where I was like, oh, this is just a little bit too YOLO from you, and not using the anti-armor missile was big. Another interesting thing, you don't seem to control group your Raven. So how do you even keep that with your army? Do you just follow that on a unit, or?
Yeah, that's what we talked about last time. To follow the medevacs,
Okay, you just right click.
because the priority of the
Why don't you
cards
just?
is annoying.
You should really put it on a different control group as well. Like, there's no reason for it not to be on control group 2 to use that anti-armor missile. Like when you're not using control group 2 for anything else. Like yeah.
No, you're right. It should definitely. I would put it in control group. Will technically be 0, but it's tilde for me.
Yeah.
So that's what I use for, like, if it's a Raven or a Ghost, that's what it's used for. I normally use 2 for like Widow Mine
Okay, cool.
Liberators. Well, no.
Yeah, I think you could have done a lot better here, but as it was, like pushing in there was what I call it's like a classic U triple move where like
YOLO.
you see a ton of charge lots with good upgrades and you always like attack into it, and that's something which like remember my first instinct was, oh fuck, that's a scary army, you shouldn't fight into that after scanning it. Then I was like, oh, maybe if we do this like really technically and correct, we can take down the big guy, right? You know, we can trip him over and stab him in the gut a few times with our spear while keeping him at arm's length, right? That's the anti-armor missile and the bio micro and all the rest. But you gotta really micro that super well and everything, right?
Yeah, like
so-
the idea was like stutter step back into the Widow Mines, right? And then I did none of that.
Yeah, and the thing is, you realize it's a mid-game army from him. This is not the super late game. This is the sort of army which, when you get mines and libs, it becomes infinitely worse. Even if he has storm out, I feel like mines and libs is better than storm in this matchup of units. I actually feel like bio is like the better comp. You know, as long as you get enough mines and then libs added in, right?
You know, start your 2/2 ultra late.
Yeah, you did start that really late. We also started the lib transition very late as well. But
What
even
time is a better time? Did that
for
happen?
the range libs?
Yeah.
I mean, you're always going double upgrades, so you're more bio focused. But it just took you a long time to get the gases going on your third and to actually like build workers. You weren't building workers as consistently this game because, like I said, the build changed and we could see it in your rhythm being a bit off. Just because the build order was changed from the factory, you know, the siege tank, and then the bunker. So that's just going to take a little bit more practice. So this wasn't necessarily the order being wrong, it was you just being behind on what you should be up to. Like you would have
Right.
had a much higher SCV count in the previous game and when I was watching you normally. But at 11 minutes, you were actually still doing okay and you still could have won this game, but you really needed to go consolidate. And you had 2 Marauders, 2 Marines, 2 Libs and a Raven, and you still sat on the front and tried to parade push. And that was just an absolutely crazy choice. Absolutely crazy. And we do go up to like 7 barracks, but we actually weren't producing out of all 5 of our barracks. And then we like keep trying to pick fights against a far superior force. So if at 11 minutes you just picked up, said, I'll drop the natural with 1 drop, I'll send a lib into the third base or a lib into the main, and I'll turtle up. Since I have a 4th on location, I'll turtle up for a little bit, wait for a good pack of liberators, and then go across the map again with a good bio lib force. But I'll just harass them in time. That would have been an okay choice, but we were just a little bit too focused on the front. At that point, though, this is the lowest priority of mistakes, right? This is like, we can look at this and be like, wow, we made a mistake. And it's like, it's the lowest priority, right? So many things we can clean up before this. This is like a, well, when your army can't fight the Protoss army and he's on 4 bases with Storm, not pushing the front and just going into a bit of harassment while turtling up for a while, you know, it does take you to a scary part of the game. So I understand why you would just be trying to break him and focus a bit more on breaking through there, because I mean you're afraid of just playing the super long game, right?
Not really, no. I actually am more comfortable. So like this is more of a manifestation of like when we talked last time, sometimes I focus too much on macro. So like I'm really trying to focus on my army at this stage and not going to the ghost point, because like I can win with ghosts and nukes, but like it's a long game, right? Like and it doesn't help me fix my problems here where you see these mechanical like
Slip-ups, yeah.
not having the things in control groups, not pushing at the you know, like that 9-minute time. If I just don't kind of start to push, I don't ever push.
So what do you
like,
think's a good rule there for trying to be like, okay, I can't break the front? Like, do you think you realize in game I probably couldn't break the front? Like, do you think there's a way you can create some sort of trigger to be a little bit more like, okay, we can't break the front, let's switch into harassment for a little bit, and then we can go back to frontal pushes a bit down the track? Like, how do you think you can structure a rule like that in your head?
basically like, yeah, when, you know, the first or second kind of like push starts to like not work out, I think is when I should not, like, then I should kind of go more in that drop. Right, because like I'm trying that parade push, trying to focus on my army, but like if it doesn't work, then you gotta, you know, it's like the first game that I did really well where I dropped them and I kind of like multi-pronged.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I guess what did you say, after the first big push at like, you know, 8 minutes or whatever, if that doesn't, you know, work out, then kind of go into the drop.
Yeah.
Prong attack?
And keep the tech units alive, right? Like you know, when does it didn't work out? What does that mean, right? Like, because in this game, you were trading armies, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Would you count that as it not working out in this game, where you traded armies, then you kept trading units, but you maintained position? Because I feel like it's like one of the situations where we should be categorizing this as not working out, in that like it's not the worst thing in the world, but we're definitely not going to break through. But you were so lucky that you had all your tech units alive, your medevacs, your Raven, and your libs, and you kind of hung out with these tech units and then sacrificed them in the follow-up, and that was the real, you know.
Yeah, I think right
kick
here
in the
where you're
nuts.
looking at is where like I shouldn't have pushed after that.
Oh, are you in the replay still, by the way? Like you're looking as well, or are
I
you
have
just
the
watching
replay
on my
open, but I'm
stream?
watching your stream right at the moment.
You're
'Cause I was
fucking.
trying to.
We're
We
running out of
we must
minerals
have
back
seen this
home.
observer. This was really nasty at 10 minutes. No. Oh my
No, I
god, the
never
Raven
did.
like skirts detection vision. It like skirts detection vision.
Yeah.
I was like, that must have seen that. I was like, that's really bad that we missed that.
But you
then
can
I'm
see
like,
I'm not even doing the
Find
control
out.
groups right
An
now. So
expansion.
it's a huge fail.
yeah.
Like I don't have liberators. This is like main. This is really what I'm trying to focus on. Even though every time I get here, I still don't do everything. Like just having the libs in a control group would be so much more helpful. Obviously,
We're running out of
Yeah.
minerals back home.
I mean, at least was paying attention to my army, so that wasn't the worst thing. But
Yeah.
um,
You're doing
Still
all right
pretty
with that. But yeah, definitely, like, let's just, you know, try and be a bit more consistent with hotkeying those. And it was a shame we gave away these tech units a little bit later in this game. But GG's, man. Honestly, the bunker and then the tank covering the main should be good. If you prefer the Cyclone and you feel that's enough for your defense, feel free to do a Cyclone instead of the tank. If you feel like, nah, I'm just going to have a Cyclone, so it's like 4 Marines get in the bunker, the rest of your Bio, your Raven, and your Cyclone just sit in a clump kind of, you know, just above your ramp, ready to respond in the main or respond to the natural. You can do that. If you feel it's like, oh, I don't want to have my tank only covering one side. I personally feel like it's very easy to just lose the Cyclone. But, you know, like if you like it, like it does do, you know, more consistent addition of damage. So what do you prefer, the tank or the Cyclone?
I mean, I prefer to go with your advice, so I'm gonna go with the tank.
Okay. The tank is definitely going to help more against, like, you know, someone who goes fucking hard on the aggression, right? And it's something where I often don't even bring that with pushes in TvP. I literally leave it in my main base, like, covering kind of the high ground for the rest of the game.
Okay.
And against those people who just do, like, 2-2 charge lot stalker, YOLO, fucking psychopath play, you know, they're just like, headbutt, headbutt, headbutt. And they never take gases on their third. They take a fourth and they never take gases there. You know
Yeah.
those guys. That tank often ends up in like the 25 kill zone because I'm like lifting my third and running SCVs and I'm like running in, running out, but I can't run away from my Widow Mines. I got to fight near my Widow Mines, which are kind of between the natural and the third. And this tank is just shelling them over the course of like 5 or 6 attacks, and it never dies a lot of the time, and it just gets insane amounts of kills. I just like it as like a little bit of an anchor. To help defend. You can bring it with your push as well, though. So I kind of shift between the two. Anyways, okay. Focus on the tank covering the main, bunker covering the natural, load units in. You did really good with remembering the tech lab that game, but your building placement wasn't the absolute greatest. Small adjustment. The bigger thing is being comfortable with that change up. You're so used to your factory building reactors. When you change that, you weren't as consistent at building workers. I whispered in your ear once or twice. Nothing fucks up your rhythm like a fucking coach trying to tell you what to do when you're in the middle of trying to order your priorities and all that sort of shit. You just have less stuff. So it'll take a few games to just make it feel as natural as your other build. Always remember to go range libs
Range slip.
rather than double reactor libs. I think it's okay to do it. I think 5 barracks, then the range libs, then the extra barracks. The way you're doing it is fine because you're a double armory guy. And you're really like, you know, good with your bio pushing and stuff. So we're not like rushing the liberators like crazy, but I think this is a good order you've got. It's just a matter of having your macro cleaned up. So remember I was like, oh, your libs need to be faster. And you're like, oh, am I doing them in the wrong order? No. That's just you getting used to the macro. I think you're doing it in a pretty good flow. All right. So I think it's just, you know, as the macro cleans up with this variation, it should be good. You might want to stick a post-it on your face or something, or on the second monitor being like, as I'm moving out, hotkey liberators or something like that, you know, put them on separate control group, or, you know, hotkey Raven as well, right? Because I think that engage on his third was indicative of you not having, you had 3 Widow Mines, a tank and a Raven, none of which were control grouped separately.
Yep.
And you took what could have been like an epic start to the fight where you scanned his army. He didn't really react. Like he didn't seem to know where your army was necessarily. And you could have done the, beautiful start to the engage. And instead we kind of headbutted the mountain a little bit. So I think definitely having at least like, one of those units control group just makes your army control way easier, man.